Welcome back to It's a Tool Thing, drawer number 11 on the toolbox tour. This drawer here has a lot of lifting equipment in it. We'll start up here in the front. Have a set of lifting chains, my personal ones. These chains work pretty well. They allow you to adjust the length of each arm to what you need. It's just a 2-point lift. But they work good for the stuff I'm normally working on, for doing radiators and all kinds of things. And then I've got these bins here that I really like for storing, keeping kind of stuff separated. Here's just some extra bolts I use for lifting. I have this one hammer, dead blow, in this drawer. Originally all my hammers were in this drawer, which is a slightly deeper drawer than where the hammers are currently at. And unfortunately, when I moved the hammers, this hammer was too thick to fit in that shallower drawer, but all the other ones fit. So I went ahead and left it down here. I'm not excited that it's separated, but it's one of the compromises I make, trying to utilize all the depth of the drawer as possible, as much as possible. The next bin back here is my lifting eyes. I actually have two sets of these. One set is out on loan right at the minute. I bored these out. They're OTC lifting brackets. I actually, they said they were 1/2-inch holes, but I could fit 9/16 through them, and it would be nice to be able to fit 5/8 or 16 millimeter. So I went ahead and drilled both sets out slightly larger, and they've been working excellent. I have this bracket here, actually came off of the back of a DD engine, but the bolt pattern actually is exactly the same spacing wise as the rear of a transmission, so it works pretty good for lifting transmissions. Got a collection of those. This next bin back has my most commonly used seal puller right here. I really do like these. I do break the tips on occasion. This is a Mac one, but they do work pretty good. Then I have a double-sided seal puller, which I probably have only used once or twice. It was just a pickup that I had one day. I saw it and decided I'd go ahead and get it, but it doesn't work on transmission seals very well, at least not for me. And the rest of the items in this bin is centering punches, chisels, just a collection of stuff to be able to line stuff up. I got I got a whole bunch of these race drivers. They were pretty good. These aren't a name brand one. I think they're Genius. They're not Mac or Snap-on, but they've been pretty good. Actually got them from our SK dealer back in the day. The next drawer back is an assortment of brass drifts. They come in real handy when you're trying to persuade something and don't want to damage it. And then I have my Snap-on puller, mini puller. I mostly just use this for pulling rear seals. That's why it has this tapered adapter on it, and it works pretty good. I also added this T-bolt in the back, because you'll tend to get your fingers caught in here in the gap, and this allows you to have something else hold slightly further back, keep yourself from whacking your hand. This is a handy tool here that one of the guys at the shop made me years ago. I'd borrowed his, and it's just a nut from a U-bolt on an axle, but it happens to be the same thread as the bigger tie rods that we work with here at the shop. So he puts in a bolt and then welds it in, and it works pretty good where you can screw this thing on tight all the way down so that it's contacting the end, and then you can hit this and not damage the threads and pop those tie rod ends loose. Have a fork style puller. I don't use it here pretty much ever. I have used one a few times. I don't think I've ever used this one since I picked it up. Back in the back here, I have my number and letter stamps back here. And then I have multiple pieces of aluminum and steel spacers that I use for supporting engines and blocks and so forth, trying to keep things level. And here are my most commonly used punches. Brace drive. I use this for pushing out bearings, and then a seal cutter. Use this quite a bit for cutting sleeves. Works pretty well. I just didn't want to put them back into this roll, so I just leave the roll rolled up and have the few that I use the majority of the time. And then this big snap-on puller, which I don't have the screw in currently. I have it in another puller. It actually works really well for pulling yokes on a transmission if they're stuck. You can slide that through either the solid holes, or you can put the straps back on and get some decent pressure. Sometimes you still have to put a little more effort trying to get it off there, but it is pretty reliable on getting those off. Next item here is a Cornwell air hammer. I actually have a smaller Mac air hammer. They both seem to work pretty well. This thing definitely does not have as much power as you would need if you were working on extremely rusty vehicles at all times, but in most cases it works out fine. One of these days I will upgrade to a bigger one as the jobs require. Our shop does have a massive air hammer. I don't know who makes it, to be honest, but it seems more like a tool for smashing up concrete. I mean, it's two-handed, probably weighs 20 pounds, and you can really put some hurt on something when you want to with that thing. You just have to be careful you don't damage other stuff or you hurt yourself. This again is drawer number 11 on the toolbox tour. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.